So we have passed yet another major Sonic anniversary. Now, at this point in time, it's not like I'm going to sit here and say that it's been a ridiculous amount of time since we've received any substantial Sonic content or anything like that. We've gotten a lot. We've been eating good these last few years, whether we want to admit that or not, right? We've received, since Sonic Frontiers, right? Since our last major Sonic title with Frontiers, we've gotten Sonic Superstars, Sonic X Shadow Generations, Sonic Racing Cross Worlds, a bunch of DLC for Sonic Racing Cross Worlds. There was another thing. We're getting Pico Park. We're getting... we got Sonic Rumble, but, I mean, Rumble exists, you know what I'm saying? So, you know, it's not like we're not sitting pretty with Sonic content that we've gotten across the board, on top of the fact that we are still waiting on the next major, like, update on Sonic 4, the movie, the next movie installment, right? So, it would be pretty ridiculous of me to say that we've been waiting too long in the next major Sonic installment, because in reality, no, we haven't. You know what I'm saying? Being a Kingdom Hearts fan has humbled me greatly, because I'm now understanding the distance between Kingdom Hearts 3 and 4 was absolutely ridiculous. And it's still ridiculous because we only just got our first trailer in 4 years. You know what I'm saying? And that made me reminisce on all the things that we got in between the wait for Kingdom Hearts 3. So, waiting on this next major Sonic title, I'm extremely grateful and very happy for a lot of the things that we did get. You know what I'm saying? And even during this most recent anniversary, we did get Sonic Frontiers Definitive Edition, which is, you know, the Switch 2 edition. It's literally just the Switch 2 edition, which is cool. That's fun and dandy, right? Although I do have more to say about that in another video, for sure. We got the Sonic Pico Park. We got the Sonic Pinball Machine. I think there was more, but I don't remember. But regardless, we've got a decent amount. But, you know, I couldn't help but think to myself that there probably could have potentially been something a little bit more substantial as a reveal, right? Nothing against the Definitive Edition completely, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's great that, you know, the Nintendo Switch 2 edition is a thing, because, you know, that's a major... you got to consider the fact that there's a lot of Nintendo Switch owners, and, you know, it's just kind of creeping up in the Switch 2 department, and a lot more people are getting their hands on Switch 2s, especially now during this unfortunate era of the big three, you know what I'm saying? A lot of people are cropping up getting Switch 2s, and, you know, a lot of those people are Sonic fans, and they probably want to play the best edition of Sonic Frontiers that they can without needing an Xbox or PC, or, well, a high-end PC or a PlayStation 5, right? So the Definitive Edition is great. But I couldn't help but think to myself, this seemed like a prime opportunity for ports, right? And realistically, it could have been any port, right? You know what I'm saying? I don't know if they would ever consider a Sonic Unleashed port now that, you know, we have the recompilation available to us on PC, and they've never been against, like, ports and stuff like that from fans. Like, fans working hard, they never step on that. You know what I'm saying? They've been very good about that. So I don't know if we'll ever get a Sonic Unleashed port now. Not that we really need it that bad, but it would be nice. I don't think they would do anything crazy with, like, you know, the scarier titles like Sonic 06 or, you know, Sonic Forces or anything like that, like upscaled, whatever. But I do think it wouldn't have been all that crazy for us to potentially have received Sonic Adventures 1 and 2 as proper ports to modern consoles, right? Because, like, I feel like the amount of manpower that it would take to probably port those over would be so incredibly minimal, and the returns would be so substantial. I mean, maybe not so substantial, but substantial enough to be worth the time, right? I don't know. I feel like if there was any time to take advantage of, like, modern consoles, especially, you know, again, Switch 2, I feel like ports of those two games in particular, Sonic's, like, like major ultimate like 3D experiences being available on modern consoles would have been just immaculate as an experience. And you know, there's a lot of people out there that haven't, you know, they're growing up with Sonic again, all over again. You know, they got into Sonic through the movies, through, hell, Frontiers was somebody's Sonic Adventure. That's what, you know, I keep hearing every now and again. That's, you know, Sonic Frontiers was somebody's Sonic Adventure. And that's a really special thing to think about. But, you know, in all the same way, Sonic Adventure could also be somebody's Sonic Adventure. You know what I'm saying? Like, what's stopping Sonic Team, Sega, whoever, from publishing or, you know, getting ports ready for Sonic Adventures 1 and 2 and just having those available on modern platforms for like, what, $20 or something like that, maybe 25, 30 if you really want to push it. maybe for Sonic Adventure 2, but you know, that's the price point is debatable, but it's definitely a sore spot in this modern age. But that's, you know, neither here nor there. The point is, I think that ports at this point in time should be available for some of Sonic's biggest and most major adventures, right? And, you know, I've talked about, you know, a couple of other games that I do think, I've gone through an entire list of games that I do think deserve remakes or ports. I don't think, I'm within the camp, I don't believe we would ever need a Sonic Adventure 1 or 2 remake, right? Those games are special because they are the way that they are. I don't think they need that modern touch like that. I feel like changing that would fundamentally change those games for the worse. I don't think the modern style of Sonic that we have now could fit in the, I mean, they could make it work, but it's so, I don't know, it's situationally dated now, if that makes any sense at all. I just don't think we need to do that. But I still think it could be genuinely incredible to be able to experience, you know, the first time. That was the first time we ever got, no, that wasn't the first time we got Supersonic, but like the first time we got 3D Supersonic, you know, experiencing 3D Sonic, well, not for the first time for modern audiences, but, you know, what it was like to experience 3D Sonic for the first time through Sonic Adventure and going through those levels and playing as multiple characters and exploring these major hub worlds and, you know, just experiencing what it was to be a Sonic fan back in the day, you know what I'm saying? And I feel like introducing us to those games would help people be a little bit more keen, even more so than now, on being, you know, having more characters within Sonic's history playable. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, Amy, Tails, Knuckles, I mean, Rouge, I mean, even Sonic Adventure 2, obviously, Rouge, Omega, obviously Shadow, and stuff like that, you know? It just seems like a prime opportunity to weirdly pass up for the 35th anniversary to take advantage of, you know, the more silent time that we're going to be in for the next couple of months before maybe Game Awards, before we potentially get that next major Sonic reveal to have these games, right? And, you know, you could make the argument that it would make more sense to maybe port something like Sonic Heroes, but I don't know. Sonic Heroes is one of those ones, I think we might have talked about this, that maybe it could be, I can't remember if I said it deserved a remake or just a port. As of right now, I don't think it could work as a, I mean, I guess it could work as a remake, but it's, I don't know. I feel like, again, that just takes away from the novelty of it, of what it is, you know? So, I don't know. You could decide how you feel about that on your own. But regardless, it's very weird that we went by this whole anniversary and they didn't take that advantage to put the, you know, the ports in front of our faces, you know what I'm saying? Like during the live stream for Sonic's 35th anniversary, we got that's when they dropped the official announcement for Sonic Frontiers Definitive Edition. And in reality, you know, it was one of the worst kept secrets of all time. We were seeing that floating around on store shelves for like a month before they officially announced, like, Shadow dropped it. They wanted to Shadow drop it, but the hard part about that was that they were releasing a physical edition for that, a physical copy for it, and it was already in like store shelves. It was spotted at Targets and Walmarts and Best Buys and everything like that, probably a GameStop or something. And, you know, that was kind of a rough thing, right? But I imagine the ports for Sonic Adventures 1 and 2 would be strictly digital, which means it would definitely be a lot easier to hide something like that. And I feel like if we're being so honest, because I am going to talk about my feelings about the general definitive edition concept later, but I feel like a stronger reveal and something that definitely would have had people a little bit more, you know, I don't want to say, I guess more hyped, realistically, would be those Sonic Adventure 1 and 2 ports, right? And this is coming from somebody that adores modern Sonic. I love Sonic Frontiers with all my heart, you know. It's not a perfect game, but it's a beautiful mess, and I love it. You know what I'm saying? And, you know, I still have that soft spot in my heart. I had that little bit of nostalgia for, not a little bit, a lot of bit of nostalgia for Sonic Adventures 1 and 2. And I feel like there's a lot of people that definitely deserve to experience those games, you know, in a modern capacity. So I think it's just a little criminal and unfortunate that we still haven't seen those games at all. And now that we're working with the Switch 2, I feel like those would be the easiest potential ports we have ever seen. And hell, I mean, just converse with Nintendo a little bit, we could definitely talk about a potential situation in which, if, you know, we want physical copies, which we definitely do, we definitely want physical copies, we could pull a Xenoblade situation where we have the digital copies of the game available, you know, off rip, shadow dropped, whatever, and then we potentially could have had the physical editions released at a later date, you know, so that way we could have had a proper shadow drop. Now, there's no point in like dwelling on the past. The 35th anniversary just kind of came and went, and we're still looking forward to a lot of content within this year. We're definitely going to be having a lot of fun with the the Nickelodeon crossovers with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, with Avatar, with and then obviously with Godzilla, City Escape, and stuff like that. We still have a lot of general content to look forward to in terms of Sonic with, you know, Cross Worlds. Obviously, we got the Pico Park situation going on. They just revealed recently at almost at Comic-Con, at Anime Expo, that they have a animated project in the works focusing more on Metal Sonic, which is absolutely incredible. That is something that I am extremely excited about, and I really can't wait to see everything in regards to that. But again, you know, I just feel like it's just such an unfortunate opportunity missed to not, at some point, while we're waiting for DLC, while we're waiting for the next major reveal, to not have the Origins available at a much larger capacity. Now, obviously, if you're a PC player, you're chilling, right? I have Sonic Adventure, I believe I have Sonic Adventure DX and Sonic Adventure 2 on my PC, you know, on my Steam. So it's not like it's completely inaccessible, you know what I'm saying? But, you know, those games were meant to be experienced on a console, and I feel like it's kind of criminal to not be able to experience that, you know what I'm saying? So I just really hope that they inevitably or eventually consider the possibility of giving us those ports sooner rather than later, you know? Because, I don't know, it would be awkward. Now we're at a point where if it wasn't the 35th anniversary, the only time it would make sense to do something like that, maybe the 40th? Because in between 35 and 40, I feel like it's just going to be an awkward time where they're not going to celebrate it nearly as hard. Maybe they will. I don't know. It depends on what kind of hype and excitement we're looking at when it comes to the Sonic 4 movie, right? I'm sure when we start getting into that hype cycle, maybe they'll change their tunes and maybe we'll have, you know, more of an excuse. But, you know, Metal Sonic, it's going to be, obviously next year is going to be very heavily focused on Metal Sonic, right? So it's kind of a rough situation to kind of gauge, like, to, you know what we're going to expect, right? But we're going to be focusing heavily on Metal Sonic. And, you know, I guess as far as ports go, if we were to get a port of anything, I guess it would probably be Sonic Heroes in terms of the 3D titles, because, you know, that was Metal Sonic, one of Metal Sonic's like major 3D debuts, you know what I'm saying? Like, that was one of his biggest showcases. So I don't know. I'm just looking at a situation now where I really want those ported properly, because I personally, if those were dropped, I would be buying those frame one on my Switch. Like, the thing about Sonic Frontiers is that it's kind of hard because I already have the best version of the definitive edition available. You know, anybody that strictly owns a Switch 2, I heavily implore you to get the Switch 2 edition, because the Switch 1 edition of that game is rough. So I imagine the definitive edition is a much more plausible experience. I didn't use that word correctly, but it does not matter. But regardless of that, I think I have said my piece by now. So, that being said, I'm passing the mic over to you, and I want you guys to tell me everything that you're thinking in the comment section below. Do you agree that we probably should have gotten Sonic Adventures 1 and 2 ports for the 35th anniversary? It definitely would have made a lot more sense. That's something you would have been hyped for, and it would have definitely held you over a little bit more while waiting for all these major updates for Crossworlds and for the next major release. Or are you opposed? It doesn't really matter. You have a PC, so it doesn't make sense for them to release ports of it again, even though we had Sonic Colors, whatever. Why did I do that? I'm so petty. I'm so petty. And it's just something that doesn't interest you as a concept. Tell me everything that you guys are thinking on that in the comment section below, because you know for a fact that I am always going to be down there with you guys. But with that, yes ma'am, it does appear to be skedaddle o'clock, so I'm gonna go ahead and do just so. I'd like to thank you guys ever so much for watching. I truly do hope you enjoyed. Do me the greatest favor of dropping a like and a comment, and consider subscribing for more content just like this here. And with that, I'm gone. So thanks again, hope you enjoyed, and I'll be seeing you guys in the next video. Do me the greatest favor of taking good ass care, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!